Welcome everyone to Wrestling is School, a special Wrestling is School bonus episode this week for your WrestleMania 40 predictions. I'm here with Sancho and we're going to be talking WrestleMania and who we think is going to win, and maybe we'll talk about any surprises that we also see fit for this show. Sancho, WrestleMania 40, buddy. It's here. It's happening.
It's the first WrestleMania for the Wrestling is Cool podcast, and what a better WrestleMania to kick off, man. Wow. WrestleMania 40, it's finally here. It feels like this has been a build-up, though, of 2 years. It was like, I feel like WrestleMania 39 is part 1. WrestleMania 40 is part 2 of what we're about to receive. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, it does feel like a continuation of last year, at the very least in the main event scene, and what's unfolded there with the Bloodline storyline, that narrative that's been going on since 2020. It does feel like the next step. It does feel like the next inning, you know, if we want to use some Paul Heyman isms, if we'd like.
Are we in the bottom of the ninth, though? Are we in the bottom of the ninth?
It can't be the bottom of the ninth with The Rock just getting here.
No way.
Right?
No
like,
way.
I feel like there has to be so much more left for in this ball game, a few more innings, or maybe this is the ninth and we're just going to extras. I don't know.
Yeah, The Rock goes, now we're in extra innings.
Yeah, there's just too much left with The Rock for this to be the ninth inning, to be the ending of the Bloodline storyline. And who knows, maybe we've romanticized the end of the Bloodline storyline too much. Maybe it isn't this like big abrupt end. Maybe it is just this like, I don't know, dissolution through time. Maybe this is the start of that dissolution, or maybe this is another 6 years of Bloodline story. Who knows?
So are you saying, like, instead of it being Endgame and Infinity War, we're literally at Avengers, like Avengers 1 here?
Maybe, yeah, dude. Maybe at best, this might be Age of Ultron. You know, at best.
Oh yeah, I see that.
You know, we've got The Rock coming in. He's Ultron here, kicking ass, taking names. Who knows? Maybe that's where we're at. Maybe there's still more left to the story. But
isn't it sad, the state of the MCU now, though? Kind of bums me out.
I feel like it could improve. I feel like it can only go up from here.
That's true.
I'm trying to be positive about it because I feel like there's some good projects in the works. So
I'm sorry, I'm gonna be a DC guy going forward after this. Because James Gunn, DC, come on, man.
Look,
it's like AEW, Tony Khan, baby.
I can't root for DC until they actually make some good stuff. It needs to be a prove it situation for me in DC.
Superman alone with James Gunn is enough for me. I'm in.
Okay, we haven't seen it. Could be garbage. Just saying.
Ben Affleck as Batman was legit too. Okay,
I didn't mind it, and I also didn't mind Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah, didn't
mind it. Didn't mind it.
There you go.
WrestleMania, folks. Yeah, you are still listening to a wrestling podcast, but at this point, honestly, if you're a fan of the show, you know that we go on tangents. We talk about our past working as at Taco Bell, working at Subway. It's just how it is with the Wrestling is Cool podcast. But yes, we're gonna try and stay on topic here. It is WrestleMania. This is a WrestleMania Wrestling is Cool podcast predictions video. We have a total, Sancho, of 13 matches. I presume that there's going to be not more added before the show, but I think we're going to have some impromptu matches happen at the show, kind of like how we had The Miz versus Pat McAfee and The Miz versus Shane McMahon, which turned into The Miz versus Snoop Dogg. I'm sure that that's going to happen. Do you foresee that? And real quick, what sort of on-the-spot match do you see happening?
I know you want me to say John Cena and Stone Cold get an impromptu match. I do not think that they're going to have a match per se. I think they are going to get involved in the main event. I don't know. I hope that they don't, because every time I see an impromptu match, it makes me go, why couldn't we have room for someone else on the card to deserve it? Like, the biggest glaring omission as I'm looking down night 1 and night 2 is Nakamura. Like, why can't Nakamura have something involved into this?
He does. He's in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. WrestleMania SmackDown, man. That doesn't count for you?
No, that doesn't count for me. Nakamura carried so much of the year
he did.
as a heel, and he was a great catalyst for Seth Rollins' Superman run. I don't know, man. I don't think this card has any room for any kind of that impromptu-ness, because one, the pomp and circumstances of WrestleMania is long. Like, everything is a little bit longer. It's like the Super Bowl. Like, the halftime show adds a little bit more time to the games. The commercials add a little bit more time, and the entrances are going to add a lot more time, especially with the Bloodline involved. I don't see any kind of thing. My question to you is: does Shane McMahon show up? I don't know.
Oh God, I don't think any McMahon.
Yeah, I don't think any McMahon will show up here in this night 1 or night 2 at Mania 40. They want to stay far away from all this, but I do think what does happen though if you wanted me to, if you're asking me to make a prediction, I think Triple H gets involved somewhere, somehow.
No, he can't physically. He can't.
He has an oppressor. I mean, you saw him kind of get a little bit with a tussle with Kevin Owens.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
yeah,
a little bit.
Okay, like that. Yeah, he can't get in the ring and he can't take bumps. He can't take bumps.
He'll make an announcement. He'll be like, "You think you're in Rock? You think you're in charge? I'm in charge." Ooh. And then he restarts a match or something like that. That could be something that could be going forward, because that has been the biggest missing piece in this entire Bloodline saga. Is they hinted at it at the very beginning when The Rock showed up, is what does Triple H think about all this? Why isn't Triple H being involved? How come Triple H doesn't have his hand in the cookie jar here to mix up the
That's
pot?
True, actually. They really hinted at Triple H being a major contributor to the storyline when The Rock said that he was that he runs the show, that you know, he's the board of directors, whatever it might be, and Triple H saying it doesn't matter where you sit, the show goes through me and me alone. Triple H, the game, the Cerebralist says, and I don't know why we're doing a Macho Man Randy Savage voice. I still see Cena and Austin get involved somehow. I definitely see Cena in an impromptu match somewhere, somehow here. A 2-minute squash match, probably, you know, for the quick, cheap pop of it being John Cena.
Is that fun for you, though?
Yes. At this point, yes. I'm down.
Why? You saw Cena do a run already? Didn't you get your fun? And you saw... Be quiet. You saw Stone Cold last year
Don't talk to me.
Pump?
I don't want to hear you. I don't want to have a conversation with you about this. Don't talk to me. Keep those negative thoughts away from me. Yes, I would be excited. I would be excited about John Cena going in, having a match with Snoop Dogg, having a match with Lil Uzi Vert, having a match with Lil Wayne. I don't care. Yeah. I'll have a Young Moolah, baby. I'm down. I'm down for anything John Cena related. Give it to me, baby. Give it all to me.
It doesn't. That's your cherry on top for Mania. Like, oh, John Cena came out.
Just a John. Why am I Mickey Mouse in this in here? Huh?
That's you.
No.
I love John Cena. Huh? Please, John, F5 me or attitude adjust me, whatever these days. Huh?
I'll take any John Cena appearance. No, honestly, for me, my I guess go-to, like if I had to pick a John Cena moment, were if he were to come out. I wasn't
asking you this.
Okay, well, you're getting it anyway. Would be a Doctor of Thugonomics promo. I think that'd be great because he won his first big WrestleMania match at WrestleMania 20 as the Doctor of Thugonomics. I'd love for a throwback to that time when he won the United States Championship.
So you want okay? Who's going to be the one? Austin Theory and Grayson Waller.
I know. I don't know, man. There are people that are getting paid more than me to make these decisions, and I know that they're going to make some good decisions.
It's not going to stop you from giving you one.
I just want John Cena on the show somehow. And maybe it could be a WrestleMania 30 scenario where you have legends coming out, introducing the show, and because they had Hulk Hogan, Austin, and Cena, maybe it's a different combination
where
that
Hogan
involves.
Thought he was in the Silver Dome?
The Silver Dome, brother. Oh, sorry, I mean the Superdome, brother. That was such a great moment. I could see them starting the show replicating WrestleMania 30 with legends coming out to, you know, hype up the crowd. Could be like Triple H, John Cena, Stone Cold Steve Austin. That'd be pretty hype.
I suppose there's room for John Cena in this
I suppose. All right, let's go through the actual matches itself because we have 13 matches that are properly announced. We don't know the order in which they'll go. We do know the two main events, and we do know what matches are on which night. We just don't know what's going to open, what's going to be in the middle, etc. So we will start off with night one matches, and I'm just going to go in the order that I see them here on Wikipedia. Again, these are not necessarily the order. Dude, I got my university degree off of Wikipedia. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, man.
Fontapedia.
Let's start off with the singles match for the WWE Women's World Championship, a match that's gotten a lot more hype in recent weeks, a match that's gotten me that I went from cold to excited on real quick. Rhea Ripley going in as the champion against Becky Lynch. Thoughts on the on the overall build of this, Sancho?
It definitely got so much better in the last couple of weeks. They built this like a traditional, like I said before, on my wrestling TikToks and things like that, that it feels like a more WWF Attitude Era buildup where it's all done in the ring. The promos are a little bit hitting close to home. You got Rue with Becky Lynch, and then you have Mommy just continue being the dominant force. I love what they did with Adam Pearce trying to stop the two between showing up in the last go home for Mania, and they had the security guards out there. I think they're going to put on a very stiff match, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a huge car wreck. I think Becky Lynch is going to take Rhea to the limit, but I think Rhea does retain here. There's just no way they're going to slow down the momentum of Rhea Ripley. I think this is a great way to write off Becky Lynch for a little bit as well, because I feel like going into this match, a lot of people, there was a section on the internet were saying like they're kind of tired of Becky Lynch getting these opportunities, even though she did pay her dues, and especially with her NXT run with Tiffany Stratton. Becky Lynch definitely deserves this match at Mania, but I think Rhea Ripley retains considering of the year that she has. And I think the biggest lessons that the WWE should learn is they should not have kept these two apart for so long, because now it shouldn't be a win it or nothing for Becky moment. It should be a building block for Rhea Ripley and Becky in this feud rather than this is it type of vibe. And they set that up for this is going to be the big showdown between Rhea and Becky, and that if Becky loses, then this is her only shot, whereas this should be a longer feud going into the future. But I see Rhea winning here.
Yeah, I see Rhea Ripley winning as well. I just don't see how Rhea Ripley doesn't win this. I just feel like there's just still so much more for her to do as champion. So many major marquee matches that are still yet to happen. We know logically that Charlotte should go to Raw when she comes back from this injury because her husband Andrade's on Raw. So we gotta run that back again, hopefully at SummerSlam, because that match was fantastic last year. And Rhea Ripley's the future of the women's division. And she not only is the future, I think she's the now as well. And putting the title on Becky Lynch, who doesn't have that much left in her career compared to Rhea Ripley, I think is not a wise choice. So I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley winning here. And I think that Rhea Ripley is going to hold for a while longer until at the very worst, probably SummerSlam.
You think it's another Roman Reigns type of hold for her? I mean, it's she's the one literally printing money hand over fist in the company right now for the women's division.
I mean, we have the evidence that it can be done. We have it. We have the build. We have the prototype with Gunther and with Roman Reigns that it can happen. And there's, in my opinion, this should only happen with like a very rare special talent. And it just so happens that Roman Reigns is that, Gunther is that, and maybe even Rhea Ripley is that. We just happen to be in a generation of wrestling where we have these types of talents that have the aura and the star power and the ability to be able to carry the burden of a title reign this long.
And the build, like you talked about the prototype, but like the physical build to be able to take on all challengers as well. Like you
and be realistic for sure.
Right. That you buy that she could be able to decimate the entire roster. But it also builds up Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Charlotte, like you mentioned, as probable suitors to usurp her. So I like the idea of, like I said, Becky going away for a little bit, so that way we will miss her, and then that way she comes back with that strong pop.
But the feud, honestly, like you've already talked about, it went from to really, really good in the last couple of weeks. Much better than last year's Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. There was the awesome altercation before Monday Night Raw during the Ariel Helwani show when they ended up, where Becky Lynch ended up running in during the interview. That was good stuff. So I'm sold on the match. I'm excited on the match, and I think that Rhea Ripley is going to be winning here. Let's move on to the Intercontinental Championship match here. Sancho, we have the champion, Gunther, the ring general, against Sami. Sami, I don't think that you can handle the Gunther here. I don't know. I can't do a Gunther impression like you. Sami. For the Intercontinental Championship, we have Sami Zayn going through the School of Alpha Academy, the School of Hard Knocks with Chatty Daddy Chad Gable, kind of an honorary member of the Alpha Academy, I guess you could say, in a more serious manner. They did this very obvious homage to Rocky, in my opinion, even ending with like the handshake there in the freeze frame, which was good. I'll let you take this one first. Gunther, Sami, what do you got?
This is one of those tough ones for me because it all boils down to what happens post Intercontinental Championship. If Sami wins, what's it matter to that belt compared to if Gunther does win, if Gunther does retain? I still predict in previous podcasts for the Wrestling is Cool that Chad Gable will be involved in a heel turn heel that's going to stop Sami from winning, because ultimately is Chad Gable. I think should be the one that beats Gunther for the belt. I think that's a stronger pop. That's a stronger hold in my mind, a stronger memory, a stronger intercontinental. If you had a museum of all the intercontinental moments, I think Chad beating Gunther is a bigger moment than Sammy beating Gunther, because I still don't buy Sammy's want to be a champion, and they really salvaged this entire feud or this matchup by inserting Chad Gable. Without Chad Gable, I wouldn't be interested in this matchup so much. I think Gunther does retain. I think considering that they do have that PLE in Berlin, and I think that's going to be the moment for Gunther to continue his legacy, and this is going to be one of those moments that he continues to build. But the only wrinkle I would say in this buildup is that Gunther came out and interfered with Sami Zayn twice, which is something that Gunther doesn't really do. And they kind of hinted at it, like Pat McAfee was like, this is something out of character for Gunther, and that he's kind of afraid of this new version of Sammy. And I think the biggest mistake that the WWE did in this matchup is, I thought Sammy was going to squash Bronson Reed into that go home. And I was like, oh, perfect. This new Chad Gable method, I want to see a stronger Sammy, a more quicker Sammy, a Sammy that is much more intelligent, because it started as soon as Bronson Reed was wrestling out there and Sammy was trying to pick him up for like a suplex. It's like, what are you doing, Sammy? Are you dumb? Like, you cannot pick up Bronson Reed. So I was hoping that Chad Gable's influence was going to be much more evident. So, but at the end of the day, Gunther is a better pick for the Intercontinental Champion going forward. And I think it's just because Sammy is still miscast into this feud, because he's more of a he should be involved in Bloodline, man, in some sort of way. Either be with Jay and helping out Jay.
It does seem like that boat's gone, though.
It can't be, though,
because
it was so good. Dude.
I know, but I think it is.
Why though? Why bury like one of the best parts of Bloodline for no reason?
It's buried. I just think it's just another story, another chapter. They're moving on from that.
But Sammy was like a huge integral part of the Bloodline getting over.
But The Rock wasn't part of it at that time. Like they're on to different things now.
Can you imagine, once again, I pitched this before, that Sammy realizes that he can't win without Bloodline and goes back to them and tries to get back to them? It would be sad. It'd be depressing. But it'd be so entertaining to watch Sammy do this whole JD Madonna thing, like put me back,
put me back in, coach. Put me back in.
Come on, I'm feeling oozy, baby.
Oh, that would be so sad. I am gonna go with Gunther as well. It's interesting to know what you said there. That like obviously there was far more hype and far more excitement for Gunther versus Chad Gable. And right now, the ounce of excitement that I have for Sami Zayn and Gunther are because of two reasons. The match quality is probably gonna be good. It's gonna be a good match. It's gonna be a good in-ring showcase. And two Chad Gable's involved. It's Chad Gable's involvement. That's how good his build was. That even as an auxiliary piece, the extra excitement that's flowing over from the hype of Chad Gable is helping build a little bit the excitement to Sami Zayn, but not enough. It should still be Gable.
This is what's going to happen. Gunther's going to hit his spam finish. He's going to get hit with everything underneath the sun, right? Bang, 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 bang. And Sammy's going to kick out.
Oh,
and that's gonna be his like, oh my god,
that would
Sammy,
be hype.
Right? No one's ever kicked out of the spam finish. You're like, dude, Sammy's gonna do it. And then Sammy's gonna do this whole thing where he's like, and he, like old Ric Flair, right? Bring it, and then he's gonna get destroyed, and it's gonna be 1, 2, 3,
double spam finishers. We're in agreement then, Gunther?
Yes, Gunther.
All right, here's a fun one. We have the ladder match for the WWE Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. We have Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Judgment Day, and Finn Balor, Damian Priest, DIY, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Awesome Truth, Miz and R-Truth, The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, A-Town Down Under, and Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, and the New Catch Republic and Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. We just got word that the way that this match
makes me laugh.
We just got word that this is not a traditional ladder match. They have explicitly said that it ends when both sets of titles are off the I have been claimed.
The brass ring.
Which they didn't directly explicitly say it, but it opens up for the interpretation that one team could grab one set of titles, match continues, and another team grabs the other set of titles. So I'll go with my prediction first. I think that the titles are getting split here. Good. I think that one set of the titles is going to go to the Miz and R-Truth. Give Miz and R-Truth that WrestleMania moment that they've been vying for years and years and years. And even if it ends up being a short run, which could set up Damian Priest or maybe something a little bit later on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on the SmackDown side of things, they're going to give a set of titles to Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. And I think that they're going to do a gold encrusted faction of Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, and Logan Paul by the time the dust settles from WrestleMania. I think it's going to be 2 winners, Awesome Truth and A-Town Down Under.
I'm so happy that you like the idea of Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, and Logan Paul, because that is the perfect faction for them, and they've been kind of hinting at that, and they have great chemistry between the three, and they'd be so annoying together.
Did you happen to catch the Twitter beef between Joey Swole?
Yes, I
and
did.
Grayson Waller and Austin Theory?
Like,
so good.
It's so weird to be someone on TikTok and to be like a content creator on that platform.
It feels like we're in the meta. We get it.
I know. Yeah. It blows, like my worlds are colliding, and Joey, he's like, do better. I don't care if you're WWE superstar. But it's so funny to see people who don't have any inkling of how wrestling works, or they never experience what it feels like to be worked by wrestlers. And then for them to be worked by Grayson Waller and Austin Theory,
Joey Swole,
right? Swole too, right? It's like, it's so funny to me that to see the Swole army activate and go up against these guys, and it's just hilarious to me. And Waller continues to dig right in, and that's what makes wrestling so awesome. And I think at the same time, like, we should have a safe space to be able to have these tribalisms and fandoms and things like that. Like, if you like Cody Rhodes, cool. I don't hate you. And if I like Roman Reigns, you shouldn't hate me either. It's like, this is what wrestling's all about. And to go back to the match, I like that idea. I think what's going to happen is, I don't think they're going to have 2 like moments here. It's going to happen all at once.
You think it's simultaneous? Okay.
You're right. It's going to be a simultaneous win for these 2 tag teams. I believe what's going to happen is the Awesome Truth is going to get the Raw titles, but R-Truth is going to take down both titles, and he's going to give the other belts to DIY. So it's kind of going to be like a R-Truth, like, yeah, and then he's going to look down and he'd be like, here you go.
No, dude, that'd be such an insulting way for DIY to win the tag titles.
Why not, dude?
No. Hey, it's your prediction. It is your prediction.
It's going to be Regeneration X on top, baby. Regeneration X. They're going to stand tall, and he's going to like, here you go, Sean. Here you go, Triple H. Go ahead and take the titles. But it could be like as a way, because, you know, DIY helped him win. Like, DIY stopped from everybody else to help R-Truth to get there. Like, it's definitely, this is going to be R-Truth's moment. This is going to be his Mania moment. And at the same time, this is going to be a great moment for Johnny Gargano and Ciampa to finally get their dues and get the belt. And who cares if it's handed to them? Who cares?
Of course, that matters. That matters.
It doesn't matter.
It matters.
It doesn't
All right,
matter.
so I've got Awesome Truth and A-Town Down Under, and you're going with DIY and Awesome Truth then.
Yes, DIY with the SmackDown titles.
Sure. Next, it's not Bloodline rules, but it is Bloodline members involved. Bloodline rules. It is the brother versus brother singles match. No stipulation, which I still think is a little bit odd. Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso in a match that...
What kind of stipulation you want? Twin gets to sing happy birthday first?
in a match that I've been a little bit disappointed with the build, because in recent weeks, they've just sort of been... The feud's been built through spillover of the other Bloodline storylines that are going on. There's been very little in the, like, I'm Jay, I'm Jimmy, and we hate each other. There was like one promo. Yes, there is absolutely justification for the match, but justification is different than build. The justification is there. Jimmy costing Jay at SummerSlam, costing him the IC title, costing him the World Heavyweight Championship, costing him the tag titles. Justification is there. But a lot of people misunderstand justification for build. Those are not the same thing necessarily. And I think that there is a great justification for this match, but a poor build. I do think that Jey Uso walks out with the victory here, unless maybe The Rock comes in here, gets involved, and he's just like Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, where he just keeps appearing in different moments, you know, throughout the night.
Yes.
You know, that reference hits with you, right? That makes sense, right? Where anything that's involving Bloodline, involving Cody Rhodes, involving Seth Rollins, The Rock is going to make his presence felt multiple times throughout the night, and I could see him making his presence being felt here, and that's how Jimmy Uso could win. But I think as it stands, I'm thinking Jey Uso wins this.
I don't know. I think you need to create this narrative within Mania that the faces are not winning at all. And especially it's big for night one. You got to have Jimmy beat Jay. You have to have the bloodline to get the bloodline rules going into night two. And Jimmy and Jay is part of that piece. You talked about it being spillover. This is the appetizer for the main event. You're going to have the bloodline overcome Jey Uso. And I'm still not 100% buying main event Jay. It's just not clicking for me yet. The moveset, everything about it, the presentation, there's nothing I think that works for Jey Uso. In that whole, probably the only moment that stood out for me was Jey Uso versus Gunther. Like that was the only thing that I was like, all right, I see this main event Jay working. But other than the rest of the entire year, it wasn't working for me. And it just, what blows my mind is that Jimmy and Jay, no matter how much they want to make them singles wrestlers, they work better as a tag team. Like there's no denying that they're probably the best tag team in the business when they're the Usos. And I would love to see a world where either one of them gets convinced to go back. I don't think Jay goes back to Bloodline, but it'd be interesting to see if Jimmy goes to Jay and they keep going, because we will get to the point where we need to discover what is the fallout from Mania. What happens to Bloodline if one of them, Cody Rhodes, wins or the Roman retains? And if the Bloodline loses, then maybe Jay and Jimmy get back together and they retain and they keep going as a tag team. Because that to me is better suited for their skills versus the singles wrestlers. But my prediction is Jimmy Jimmy moves on and wins.
You know, you kind of won me over with what you said of almost like foreshadowing the good guys losing. Like almost like a I keep making the nerdy references, you know, Star Wars Rogue One, where you start, you almost know that the end result, is the good guys losing in this scenario, but now you're starting to see the dominoes fall one by one. And I think that Jey Uso losing to Jimmy does create that sense of impending dread and doom. Yeah. I like that. I'm going to stick with my prediction, but I really like what you built there with Jimmy Uso being kind of like the first bullet fired against the good guys in this grander story. Okay. So we're on opposite sides there. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi taking on members of Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi for a 6-women's tag team match. No tag titles on the line. Tag championships are in the match with the champions, but they are not on the line in any capacity. I'll let you go first, because I don't think that this could be a bit more complex than it looks on paper. It could just be the good team wins and we move on.
It's a squash match, brother.
You think so?
Bianca Belair, Jade, and Naomi win. They just dominate the entire thing. It's the only way they could build up Jade to be a world beater, and that has to happen. Jade needs to look like $1 million. There should be never any doubt that Jade is the strongest person in this matchup to make, like, she needs to come out looking like $1 million.
Yeah.
Now they can have moments where Bianca and Jade maybe have a tough between the two. Maybe they kind of hint at WrestleMania, the next WrestleMania 41 between Jade versus Bianca. But this needs to be Damage Control needs to lose here, because I feel that Damage Control has been winning a lot, and this is going to be that first opportunity to see that Damage Control needed Bayley to be able to withstand all these problems that they're going to soon face at Mania, because I think Bayley's going to win. Just as a little spoiler, go ahead. I think Bayley's going to win. I think Damage Control loses. So the narrative is, where is Damage Control going forward? Damage Control needs Bayley to lead them, because clearly Dakota Kai cannot do it. So I think this is going to be
a squash match. She's been pretty good. She's been pretty good.
I like Dakota Kai a lot. And she's great promo-wise for the ladies out there for Damage Control. But I think this is going to be more about, let's build up Jade properly. Let's make Jade look like $1 million. And I bet you, if you want to ask me what's my prediction, Jade Cargill is going to do her little shoulder and she's going to hit into the ring post. Like, I don't know why WWE's trope is like, if you're a strong wrestler, you're going to stupidly hit yourself with a spear into the ring post as a way to slow you down. But that's going to happen. I think it's going to be an easy squash match. The Belair, Cargill, Naomi, I'm going to call them the Excellence win.
I'm not convinced that Jade Cargill doesn't turn on Bianca Belair and Naomi.
Why so early, though? You think works as a heel?
Look, I look at the landscape of heels on Friday Night SmackDown, and at singles heels that are main event worthy. Who you got? Who you got?
AJ Styles?
No. Women.
Oh, women.
Who you got?
Asuka?
That's not singles. Singles women for what singles titles? Who you got?
Io?
Okay. And that's the only answer.
You had Shayna at one point.
That's the only answer. It's Io. Aside from that, like you actually have Naomi, Bianca, and now Bailey.
And Tiffy?
Tiffy is a work in progress, but it will be Tiffy at some point. Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. But I mean, like, ready now, title picture, win women's championships. It's literally Io Sky and no one else in terms of at the top of the women's division on SmackDown as a heel.
But
it needs someone. It needs somebody else. Can
I don't
you
think
really?
Jade's there yet? There's no way Jade's ready to wrestle as a heel in the WWE.
Look, I'm not even disagreeing with your pick that I still think that it's going to be a squash match. I'm just saying it might not be as simple and as easy as we're making it out to be, because I look at the landscape of the roster, and the women's roster on SmackDown needs another top heel that doesn't need just a translator all the time, that can build herself, unlike Io Sky.
I think Jade does need a mouthpiece, though.
I agree as well.
I mean, Jade needs.
I actually agree
that.
as well.
But I think like you're picking the wrong person to go heel here. Bianca
No
Belair
way.
is the one that goes heel.
No way.
I know they make more money
Yeah.
as her as a face, and she's on the Cricket Wireless, but
Bianca's
she
a
has the
forever
chops-
face.
No.
Yeah, she's
no,
a Cena. She's a forever face.
No. She
She-
had a great heel run in
She
NXT.
did.
Brother.
Cena had a great heel run. Dr. Thugonomics, we still reminisce to it on this day. Never, ever came close to turning heel. Never. Ever. And that's going to be Bianca Belair.
She has a little bit of like inklings like, hey, she let
So
Naomi
did
be
Cena.
out there by herself.
But rise above the hate, brother. Tuesday. Special teams, special play. Look, I think Bianca's a forever babyface. I just want to throw that out there into the universe so that if it does happen, you can come back and kiss my feet.
Does Asuka eat the pin?
I hope not. Are you aware that she hasn't won a single WrestleMania match?
He's a pin eater, dude.
Yeah, she is. She is a pin eater. Let's move on.
Mhm.
Latino World Order in Rey Mysterio.
What do you say? It's LWO, all right?
LWO. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Leaf, which I still think is a bizarre choice.
I agree.
You have Carlito right there.
Yep.
Right there, you had Carlito versus Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio.
Weird match.
Very weird match. When you cut, I feel like you had somebody. You had Carlito right there.
Faction versus faction was there too.
Dude, okay. When they were all in the ring, when they were all facing down, I was like, oh my God, I'm sold on this. I'm pumped.
Yes.
Because my logic was, we have the characters, the main characters that we care about in storyline. We have the Dominic, Santos, Carlito, Rey Mysterio. But then we had the young up-and-comers that can carry the workload of like the crazy awesome spots, and Joaquin Wild, who got called out for not being Latino, and
so funny.
that was awesome. Cruz del Toro, Berto, and Garza. They could have been the electricity in the match, while the story got carried by the main characters. Hell, you could have tossed in the two ladies in there as well and had an awesome tussle of faction versus faction. The stipulation that they gave the New Testament and the Pride should have been here. I feel like this is what could have benefited from the street fight. This could have been awesome. And I feel bad for saying this, but Dragon Lee was an underwhelming choice.
Thank you. I thought that too. I was like, why are we putting... I don't think he's ready for Mania. There's no slight to Dragon Lee. I think he's a fantastic talent. I think he's definitely going to be at Mania, but I've seen his previous matches. There's a little bit of I don't know, rust or something, but he's been put into this spotlight, and I don't think he's excelling just yet. He has a sick entrance and everything like that, but his matches hasn't clicked for me. I mean, he kind of reminds me of those moments of like, what was it, Kalisto? You're just like, all right, Kalisto could do something, but can Dragon Lee step up to the plate? I don't know. And it's so bizarre to me that one of my favorite lines is Santos is like, Rey Mysterio does not know how to love someone who loves him. It's the same thing that happened with Santos. It's the same thing with Dom. And here he is, Carlito. The guy loves Ray, and Ray just does not pick him, and instead he picks someone new, Dragon Lee. Like that is so bizarre to me. And at the same time, it made me say, because I was watching and I reacted to this, and I said, why did we sign Carlito then? Like, why is Carlito here? What has Carlito done ever since he's been signed? Nothing. I mean, he had that great moment in Puerto Rico at Backlash, but it's like, what is he doing here that's going to benefit the LWO? He even hasn't even competed as a singles so many times. He's only won that street fight against Santos. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
It's very random. Think that very out of nowhere.
It's very random, and it was already random by inserting Dom into this very late, literally a couple weeks outside of Mania. And then as well as it's made everything so complicated with Judgment Day and this whole thing of literally Judgment Day Clubhouse now has Legato in there, and it's getting cramped.
They got a nicer TV now.
And they got a nicer TV thanks to R-Truth. And then like Andrade shows up too. And it's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, what are they trying to prove with Judgment Day? Why lack of comms? It's like, I have lack of comms when I play video games, but why is it so bad here when it comes to this? No, I know it just makes no sense to me that the WWE did this. To me, this tells me that the WWE upper brass does not have confidence in the LWO and does not have confidence in Legato. It just doesn't.
I agree. I think that there's more to this. I think that this is a first chapter in whatever is going to happen. I'm going to be picking Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio because I'm foreseeing finally a Carlito heel turn. Because why not pick Carlito? Like, why not? Aside from maybe you want him to have a moment of jealousy, which is ironic enough because that's how Santos Escobar ended up turning heel because Ray was favoring Carlito. Maybe we could see another, I guess, checkpoint in people turning on Rey Mysterio. And like, if you're not going to use Carlito in his current form, just turn him heel. Just turn him heel. Give him his old theme song. I'm picking Santos and Dirty Dom.
I like that idea. I think the reason why I'm picking Santos and Dirty Dom is because Dirty Dom lost last year in WrestleMania 39, and this is going to be his way to beat Ray and continue to build Dirty Dom. Because I think you cannot have Dirty Dom stick his neck out there for Judgment Day and says, like, I got this, I know what I'm doing. And for him to lose and to go back to mommy, I think that's going to be a problem because they need Dirty Dom in this Judgment Day takeover that whatever they have planned. I have no idea. At one moment, they were going up against Gunther for some weird reason, and they were going to cash in against Gunther, and now they're not. I have no idea who is the leader of Judgment Day, and it's clear they want mommy to do it, but her reign is weird. Do you believe that Finn Balor has something up his sleeve?
No.
You're not in that camp. That
I'm
Finn
not in
Balor
that camp.
Switch out the
No,
contract.
I'm so far away from. I was away from that camp the moment that stupid theory came forward. I hate it. It's not happening.
Hey, burying in the internet booking. Okay.
Okay, so we're both on the heels on that one. All right, now let's talk about the Bloodline, The Rock and Roman Reigns main eventing against Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. If Rhodes and Rollins win, all members of the Bloodline will be barred from ringside during the night 2 main event. If The Rock and Reigns win, the championship match will be Bloodline rules. It's gonna be Bloodline rules.
Like how on Monday Night Raw they had to have a Bloodline rules match to let everyone know what kind of match.
Which is not. Which is just.
Which is not. It's no holds bar.
It's just no holds barred.
It goes.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm gonna say it and put it out into the universe. I think that this is the best built WrestleMania match in history.
This one right here. This tag team match.
This, in terms of the amount of tender love and care and attention and storyline beats that they've given this match, I can't think of a better built. More, I don't know what the execution is going to be like, but I think this is the best built WrestleMania match in the history of WrestleMania. Can't think of a better one. At the very least, since I've been watching, I can't think of a one that's gotten this much attention, this much love than this particular tag match.
I think you nailed it. The presser, the Rock's heel turn, the
social media stuff,
the social media stuff, the Rock's into Instagrams and TikToks, literally every single moment you feel like every Raw, every SmackDown is about The Rock and Roman. There's so much attention to it. And not only that, on Pat McAfee show, and then I guess before this recording, we had the Jimmy Fallon appearance that they're going to make. There's so many things that The Rock has done for this feud. And again, wasn't supposed to happen. I firmly believe at the end of the day, if they come out and say, yeah, we had this plan all along, I will still not believe you. I don't care if an A&E documentary comes out to talk about this build, because it is something that came out of nowhere and they're rolling with it and they're nailing every single thing. I would agree with you that it's probably the most invested build up, because I think they had to invest as much as possible because it was not planned. I still think like the Rock and Cena had a better build up in terms of just that investment.
Sure.
Of like
Okay.
that 2-year run. But at the same time, if you had to ask me, this tag match has the most open-ended questions and answers throughout the entire WrestleMania history. I have no idea what's going to happen. Literally,
really, I think
I
feel like it's predictable.
I know what the outcome's going to be. I predicted that what's going to happen is, I think Cody's going to overcome The Rock at the moment, the final boss, but it is going to be Roman Reigns that's going to be the one that puts everything down and to stand tall. And there's going to be a lot of interference from the bloodline. But my thing is, like, I don't know if Stone Cold's going to get involved. I don't know if John Cena's going to get involved. I don't know if there's going to be new members of Bloodline introduced here. There's so many things that could happen. The main prediction will be that it will be Bloodline rules in night 2. It has to have Bloodline rules, because that's just going to add more to the dread, and that's going to be more for Cody Rhodes to overcome to finish the story if he gets to finish it. But man, I'm just so happy because The Rock looked really good on Monday Night Raw. He's been looking really good with his run-ins, and he's been looking really good with his beatdowns. And I think that we're going to be surprised by how much The Rock outputs here in this match. And he's going to be a different kind of Rock than we've seen in this past, especially from Rock and Cena. And I think Rock learned his lessons from getting injured in all the previous Manias, and he understands what he needed to do to prepare for this run here at WrestleMania. Granted, is not against his cousin, Roman Reigns, that's fighting alongside him. But if anything of an inkling that we got with Rock and Roman and Cody Rhodes and Seth from that Monday Night Raw in Brooklyn, if that was just a drop in the bucket, this is going to be a phenomenal match. And I predict Bloodline wins.
I'm predicting Bloodline winning as well. You can't be talking about this much Bloodline rules and then not have Bloodline rules for the Night 2 main event. Although it would be a pretty hilarious heel move if they lose and The Rock's like, it's still Bloodline rule. I could see that happening, but no, I am going to take the Bloodline. I'm incredibly excited what type of Rock we get. Are we going to get a Rock that is trying to replicate his old, early 2000s Attitude Era with his old moveset, or are we going to get more of a lumbering tank Rock? And that sounds like a bad thing. I mean, like, is he going to be relying more on strikes and using weapons and a lot of trash talking and beating people down in the corner as opposed to, your traditional slams, stuff on the outside, things like that? I'm curious. That's my big question. What kind of Rock offense we're going to get? Because I think it's going to be something we haven't seen before. I don't think that we can pinpoint to an era of The Rock's past that where they were going to get this version. We have to remember, this is a 50-plus-year-old Rock. He has to adapt in some way, shape, or form. And if there's anyone in this business that I trust that can adapt and work to their limitations while still keeping the electricity and the aura at an all-time high, it's The Rock. So I'm really curious how he's going to adapt at this advanced age. Luckily, this is a tag match, so he doesn't have to carry a lot of the match. But I think we're going to be seeing a lot of trash talking, a lot of belts, weapons, things like that for The Rock.
It reminds me of Hiachi from Tekken. Just this presence that he's just going to be able to do whatever he wants. I think he's going to take a page from Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns recently hasn't been much of a wrestler. He's more of a in-ring trash talker, like he talked about. He paces himself really well. It's going to be a long, drawn-out match, especially with both Roman and The Rock doing their thing. We got a taste of it again at the Brooklyn Monday Night Raw, where they're whipping both Cody and Seth. I think we're going to get more of that. And ultimately, I think the reason why Rock changes his wrestling style is because it's going to protect him the most. If The Rock does not get hurt at Mania, at night one. This means The Rock could be in SummerSlam. He could be in other PLEs. We talked about it in the Wrestling Cools podcast. You mentioned the last one we had before this one, is that The Rock understands that he is more invested into this business because he will get greater returns if he's actually involved in the product. And The Rock being involved in product has 13 times sold out shows, the biggest gate in Monday Night Raw history. It just shows you that The Rock's priority should be staying healthy. And if that means wrestling like a bruiser, like Stone Cold used to do, and just being a guy who punches, yes. And I think that was the biggest mistake of The Rock when he went up against John Cena. I think his ego let him try to be, all right, well, John Cena, let's go ahead and wrestle. Let's do old school.
Yeah, let's pick each other up.
Let's pick each other up.
Yeah.
Let me hit you with my finisher. You hit me with yours. All those kinds of things immediately did not go The Rock's way because The Rock cannot do a 5-star Dave Meltzer type of match, but he can tell a great story because he already has with his 2 beatdowns that he's had against Cody, and especially on that Brooklyn Raw. I'm all for it, man. When The Rock comes out, and it's a very cartoon thing. I think the moment that I latched onto is like Jay goes into the back, and then all of a sudden, just Jay flies out of the back.
Yeah,
like from Gorilla.
That was good. That's
the kind of stuff that I'm expecting, like some overselling. The one thing that I pointed out is like this is not Hollywood Rock, like you mentioned. The Rock is not only going to take a page from Roman, but he's going to take a page of Hollywood Hogan. Dude, I saw Hollywood Hogan whipping people with weight belts. That's Hogan out there doing his thing. NWO Hogan at his best.
I'm going to make one little bold prediction. I'll just toss it out there. We've seen The Rock evolving. You know, he's been changing a lot. Like we see like almost like a week by week metamorphosis. I think that he debuts a new finisher.
Oh my God.
I think he debuts a new finisher.
Oh, you got me so excited.
Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool?
Submission?
It could be, it absolutely could be a submission. That was actually my first thought, but I could see The Rock with how he has changed himself from head to toe. I could see him debuting a new finisher. I don't know what it could be.
You know what?
But I'm going to throw it out there. I think he could.
It's going to be his dad's finisher.
What did his
like
dad
how Cody does the bionic elbow?
Okay.
I'll look this up, but I think it has to be a callback to his dad because that makes the most, or his high chief. The High Chief Peter. All right, I'll look this up.
I'm just gonna throw that into the universe because I think that'd be cool if we had The
like
Rock.
Hell's Gate,
just something.
that type of vibe.
Just something that just looks, something that uses his beefy muscles to suffocate. I could see that. Who knows? Maybe an MJF headlock. Who knows? Let's move on here to night 2. Let's start. We have less matches in night 2. Night 2 has 6 matches, and I will say, at first glance, night 1. Way more stacked than night 2. I'm just going to throw that out there. I say that. Let's start off with the World Heavyweight Championship match. Seth freaking Rollins as the champion taking on Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sancho, I'll defer to you on this one.
Hear me out, Santi. This is what happens. Seth Rollins goes through hell in that night 1 against the Bloodline. And this is what you see. All of a sudden, Drew comes out with the bagpipes. He's going to get like a bagpipe entrance, dude. It's going to look sick, right? It's going to be a Mania entrance. I'm hoping that we get Mania quality entrances. I mean, last year you had Dirty Dom coming in from a prison van. That was the best one. But in terms of non-Roman ones. Anyway, and then Seth Rollins music hits. Oh, and Seth hobbles to the ring. He has that tape around his ribs. He's all like, and he just barely makes his way to the ring. And I think Drew McIntyre hits him with a Claymore, and he literally destroys Seth. And he goes, I told you, Seth, you should have been da-da-da-da. You should have paid attention to me. I'm the one that he's going to do. And he destroys Seth Rollins. 1, 2, 3. Drew wins, and that is your new WWE champion.
Hear me out.
Oh, another hear me out. Go ahead.
I think this is a match that The Rock gets involved in again. Mr. X. The Rock, the ever-looming presence, just keeps coming back to make good on promises. He made good on the promise of, I'm going to make you bleed, boy. And I think he's going to make good on the promise of, I'm going to take this title away from you. And he's going, in the snap of a finger, either Seth Rollins wins and he snaps his fingers and Damian Priest comes out, or he takes out Seth freaking Rollins to a way that Drew McIntyre walks out the champion. I'm gonna say that Drew McIntyre walks out the champion. look, after the night one hell that he's probably going to go through, with probably involvement from The Rock in this match to take the title away from him again in the snap of a finger, I think we're setting this up for it to be Drew McIntyre. I'm going to keep it simple on that one. Drew McIntyre walking out as your World Heavyweight Champion. And with the announcement of Clash of the Castle in Scotland, I think he's going to be walking in as the champion in there because it's not that far away from now. It's in June.
So what happens? Damian just eats his contract, eats the briefcase?
Probably. At this point, I don't care. I don't care. I just care about what I have in front of me. I don't care what happens with Damian Priest's contract.
What happened to you? You were so enamored with Damian.
They butchered it, bro. They butchered it.
I told you. You were like, Money in Blank should take over as the big four PLEs, you idiot. Dumb.
All right. Well, okay, whatever, man. I still stand partly by that, even if the Money in the Bank briefcase has been a shell of itself in recent memory.
It's been a dud. And you know what? Who's going to save it? You think
Tiffany
you could
Stratton.
get away? No, you think you could get away from the LA Knight glaze just because it's a Mania prediction video? Don't roll your eyes at me while you're drinking.
This is a special episode.
LA Knight that will save the Money in the Bank. Mark it down, dude. It's going to happen. Embrace it, brother. You're going to, you know what? Not only you're going to go like, you know what, Sancho was right, but you'll be happy to see LA Knight with the briefcase running around.
I would be happy. I would be.
And then he's going to come out like, you think I should cash this in? Nah. He's going to have a field day with that briefcase.
So who you got?
Who do I have?
Yeah.
Oh, I got Drew too.
You got too busy with the glazing of LA Knight. I don't think you picked.
Distracted.
All right, so we both got Drew here.
Yeah.
Moving on to the match for the WWE Women's Championship, we have champion Io Sky taking on the Royal Rumble winner Bayley. I'll take this one first. I think that Bayley is winning. I think this is one of the safest predictions of the night. I think this is a very simple story, and I think that you don't need to overcomplicate this. I don't think that you need to overbook this. I don't think that I like the fact that Damage Control is on night one because maybe they get so squashed that they can't come out and help Bayley. I think Bayley just wins this. I think it's going to be a nice feel-good moment, and she's going to get her WrestleMania moment and become champion. Bayley wins.
I like that. I agree. Bayley wins.
Yeah.
I think it's just there's the perfect build-up for this. I feel like they did their best to build up this story a little bit more, but unfortunately it doesn't have as much pop as is going into it. Do you think that Bayley's little friend helps her? The Bayley girl, Izzy?
No.
Why not?
Why
She's
would
a wrestler too?
Did she wait? She became a wrestler?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't know that.
She does she's the whole Bayley hugger type of vibe out there.
I didn't know that.
Come on, dude. Now that you know that'd be cool.
Not
You
happening.
would cry.
Would cry. I would cry. I would bawl.
Dude, the little girl that was at NXT Black and Gold.
That's cute. That is cute. That is cute.
Come on, dude. Hey, ain't no stopping us now.
I would love a hugger reference. During her entrance or something.
Yes.
LA Knight versus AJ Styles. You know what? I'm going to just let you take this.
Finally, the man that has been carrying the WWE SmackDown banner. Come on. Listen here, man. I know you want to go ahead and take your little siesta. You want to go ahead and put it on the back burner. You were just tired of the LA Knight glaze, and the people in the comments are probably tired of the LA Knight glaze. But once again, when you strip it away and you look in the mirror and you look at yourself as a WWE fan, you're going to remember that it was LA Knight that carried you through the dark times of the 2023 when there was no CM Punk, when there was no Randy Orton, there was no Roman Reigns. Who was there that was there to cuddle you at night, to tuck you in the night, to put you in the sleeping bed, to make sure that you ate all your vitamins, to make sure that you were fed well? It was your daddy, LA Knight. And he did his thing, and he's going to do his thing against AJ Styles again because he is due. He is due. He's going to go ahead and move on and win the Money in the Bank, and he's going to have a phenomenal finish against the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. AJ Styles could go ahead and have his new music. He could come out with his new evil attitude. He's going to be like, ooh, New Japan, AJ Styles, I'm a future Hall of Famer, all this kind of stuff. Nah. It's all fun and games. And until LA Knight hits that blunt force trauma. It's LA Knight for the win. And it's gonna be great, dude. I think this is gonna be one of those potential opportunities to get the crowd going, and it's gonna be one of the biggest pops in the night. I'm just hoping that Philly crowd does not save their pops. You know what I mean? I hope they don't sit on their hands and go like, I'm waiting for.
It's WrestleMania though. Like I feel like that happens a lot with WrestleMania.
That's what
fans.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That you cannot sit on your hands here for LA Knight. You get those hands out of your rear end and stand up tall.
I
For
feel
LA
like that's
Knight.
always the case with WrestleManias in big open
Especially
air
night
stadiums.
two.
Yeah, night two for
Especially
sure.
night two.
Absolutely night two. I do.
But
Look,
AJ
I feel like
Styles
anyone
wins.
can wake them up
Just
would be. If anyone can wake them up, it is going to be LA Knight.
Yes, LA Knight wins.
I will go with LA Knight as well. I think he's the right choice. I think that they've got big plans for LA Knight here in the foreseeable future, and AJ Styles can afford a loss. Like he's
True,
AJ Styles, he's fine. He's gonna be fine forever. LA Knight, he loses here. That's really damaging to LA Knight.
Unless he gets screwed, which it could happen. I mean, LA Knight's been screwed before. I think that will set a narrative that LA Knight has been getting screwed over and over again, and that his opportunity keeps getting stolen from him. I think AJ Styles does have opportunity to build another faction. I think that works really well for AJ Styles. I don't like AJ Styles as the lone wolf. I don't think the OC or
not them.
Not them. But I mean, Tonga's out there. The rumors that they've signed Tonga could be an opportunity. I mean, they were Bullet Club people.
Maybe.
I mean,
maybe.
who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe. But
maybe.
I just don't see AJ Styles winning here unless
Shenanigans.
they build him up for Backlash.
But, I do think that
LA Knight needs a Mania win.
I do think that they're going to run this back at Backlash, but I do 100%. Think LA Knight needs this victory. AJ Styles does not need it. LA Knight absolutely does. Let's talk about one of the matches I'm most excited about. Probably the match I'm most excited about for night 2. Logan Paul going in as the champion, United States Championship match against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. You took the last one. I'll take this one. I'm seeing writing on the wall that tells me that Logan Paul is going to hold this until at the very least SummerSlam. He's the poster child of SummerSlam. So unless the plan is for Logan Paul to become a main eventer and go for world titles, I think that they're going to have Logan Paul retain this United States Championship match, retain at this United States Championship match, and be one of the headliners for SummerSlam in his home state with the United States Championship against Randy Orton. I think that's going to be a big match there. So when I look at the 3 that are here, I think Kevin Owens is eating a pin here because I don't see Randy Orton taking a pin, and I see Randy Orton versus Logan Paul carrying on much longer than just WrestleMania. We've already seen Kevin Owens and Logan Paul, so I think the person in this equation that you can start to phase out is Kevin Owens, and I think he eats a pin. I think that it's going to be some hilarious heel victory once again, some super creative way that Logan Paul walks away with a victory. They were super creative with how they did it at Royal Rumble. I hope that they outdo themselves with some sort of heel shenanigans again. I'm picking Logan Paul.
You don't think that Kevin Owens goes heel a little bit here and turns on Randy? It's kind of set up that way. And I don't mean like all of a sudden he's a Logan guy. I'm thinking that Kevin Owens goes, oh, I want to get mine too, type of thing.
I think it's set up for both of them to do that to each other.
For sure.
They're both the biggest backstabbers in WWE history.
Right. And I think that's how Logan's going to retain. I think Logan is going to be an opportunist in this situation. And I think KSI can get involved again.
I would love that. I would love that.
I would love
What about
that
Jake?
so much.
What about Jake?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think Jake Paul has to get involved because it sets up his promotion for Mike Tyson. So the more that's going to happen, I think it's going to be cool. It'd be interesting to see KSI and Jake Paul be involved in the finish in some sort of way that helped Logan get the win. I just feel like Logan Paul as a champion has better returns. And I think that's my predictions going forward for the rest of this WrestleMania 40 is what has the bigger return. And I think Logan Paul being United States champion is much more interesting than Randy being, because Randy doesn't need that belt. I think Randy, after this feud with Logan, even after the follow-up with Logan versus Randy, I think Randy needs to go after another championship before he hangs it up in terms of the heavyweights, the big titles. And at the same time, I feel like Kevin Owens is just inserted into this because he needs to be on the Mania card.
He's taking a pin. Yeah, he's eating the pin.
I know he had that thing. I know he had that thing in the Royal Rumble, and sure, I just feel that both Sammy and KO need to be together. It's not a DIY situation where Ciampa and Gargano need to be together in order to be on a card. But I like seeing Sammy and KO together, and it feels so weird for them to be separated. It reminds me of The Office, where Michael Scott got separated from that lady from HR.
Oh yeah, Holly.
Yeah, why separate Holly and Michael?
That was unnecessary. Bad writing from bad booking.
Exactly.
I think this will be a quick one. The Pride, which at least as of Wikipedia, that's what they're calling them. I guess it's the official name.
I've heard that before.
I've heard it before, but I never heard it on TV. This is the first time I'm seeing it on I mean, Wikipedia is not official, but it works for me. Absolutely. We have Bobby Lashley, Angela Dawkins, Montez Ford,
with BFAB.
With BFAB. I'm just confirming that she's not in the match with BFAB. Taking on the Final Testament, Karrion Kross, Akam and Rizar, the authors of Pain, with Scarlett and Paul Ellering watching and just
like
staring
Ninja
at you.
Bad guys.
They really
and Rocksteady.
That's so true. That is so true. In a 6-man Philadelphia street fight, go Sancho. I think this is a quickie.
This is Bobby's Mania makeup. This is all this is. For those of you who don't know, Bobby Lashley was supposed to be on the card last year. Fortunately, in some sort of injury that happened, I think, was it Bray?
I think it was Bray. Yeah.
It was Bray. They had something going forward after the Royal Rumble with LA Knight and Bray, but you know, what can you say about Bray? Bobby goes ahead and does not have a match, and they have this, at least I remember like a little vignette before WrestleMania 39 kicks off, and it's like Bobby's like sitting there crying in the stands, not having a match. And
he gets a moment where he brings out the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle
and this
Royal
was
trophy.
Bobby's backyard, from what I remember. Like this was supposed to be Bobby's moment. Right. It's very tough to see that. And I think this is going to be a makeup. We already talked about it where LWO versus Legato should have been a faction versus faction. And the only thing I like about this is like I'm finally understanding where Karrion Kross is going. There's a little, what I said, traction, a little bit, like there's a little rubber meets the road for them, and I think they're moving a little bit forward. And I think if they lean more into this unhinged Karrion Kross, who's just a disruptor and causes violence, I think that works much more better than like I'm a time prophecy guy. The Pride's going to win here. Bobby wins. I mean, Street Profits have been eating a lot of the authors of pain. There've been a lot of interferences, and it's been like formulaic of there's a match that happens, authors of pain comes in, DQ, Bobby Lashley gets thrown into a table or power bomb by Karrion Kross. That has to reverse here. It's going to be the Pride wins, and I think Bobby's going to get one of those Mania moments where he like picks up one of the 2 Ninja Turtle villains and he's going to power bomb him in some crazy way. Like man, it'd be wild if it's a gorilla press. Like if he picks up one of these dudes like that over his head, that'd be insane.
I think that this could be a sleeper good match because of the stipulation.
Oh, like a Shield and Wyatt type of vibe?
No, that's no. That's I don't think it could be that
like
good.
Gunther, McIntyre, and Sheamus vibe?
No, not even that.
Okay.
Remember
the
tag team showcase from last year?
Yes, for Braun Strowman and Ricochet.
I think it can be that. I think it could be just a fun car wreck that's there for the sake of having really cool, fun spots. It doesn't need more than 8-9 minutes. I feel like everyone can have some cool hardcore moment. I don't know if it's going to be quite as good as if you remember the Steel City Street fight that we had a couple of months ago. I think it was at Fastlane or Payback, whatever that was. But the stipulation really allows for this group of guys to have a really fun match. I hope that BFAB and Scarlett get involved somehow. Maybe one of them goes through a table. I feel like this could be a really fun car wreck. I'm going to take the Pride here because I'm not betting against Bobby Lashley. No way, Jose. Former wrestler. Wonder what he's doing these days.
He became my instant favorite, and I was hoping something would happen to him.
No way, Jose did?
Yeah, I love his baseball moveset. There was something about doing the baseball swing as his finish. I thought that was really cool. I was like, all right, man. And I love this song.
The song, man, is addictive.
The problem is like he was Adam Rose 2.0.
That's it. That's all he was. Yeah, he was
a conga line.
He was a conga line gimmick. That's a good way to put it. Last but not least, we have Roman Reigns going in as the champion. Could be Bloodline rules. Could be Bloodline gets removed from ringside. I think we both believe it's going to be Bloodline rules. Mama Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship, taking on Cody Rhodes, winner of the Royal Rumble. What can we say about this? Look, assuming it's going to be Bloodline rules, this is going to be a hilariously fun, overbooked mess, and I'm here for it. I think that we're going to have, dude, we should honestly take prop bets. Over under 5 people get involved.
Over.
You think over 5 people get involved?
Over.
List them.
You're gonna have Jimmy, Jay, Sammy, KO, The Rock, Paul Heyman.
Okay.
Right. Where does that leave me? Oh, Solo. And then you're gonna have
Austin Cena.
I was gonna say Drew.
Drew's a possibility, absolutely.
Drew, I think Nakamura could have an appearance. You never know. Just because it's Paul Heyman. Listen, dude.
I think Damian Priest before Nakamura.
But it's a heels versus faces, and I swear, if Damian Priest comes out with his briefcase, he's gonna get embarrassed. Like, don't even try it. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be one of those moments where I feel I'm never gonna be able to experience a match where every pin feels like it's going to be the end, and that is what we're gonna have here tonight too, where you're gonna be like a rock bottom can end it, a crossroads can end it, a spear could end it, and then you're like, this is it, and then it's not gonna happen, and then you're gonna feel a roller coaster ride where the pit of your stomach is gonna be in your mouth by the end of this entire ride. And I think the main thing about that the WWE has here going forward is that they're gonna bring us to this point where we're gonna lose our minds, where we're just gonna be like, this is impossible. And I feel though, once you remove yourself out of the moment, you're gonna be like, that was overproduced and that was probably the silliest thing ever. But in the moment, sitting there, watching intently, waiting for every moment to happen, you're gonna have the ride of your life. It's gonna remind me of some of those movies where you're like, all right, I experienced this movie and I don't want to watch it again. Like, it's gonna be like, all right, I already had this ride, this was fun, but I don't want to experience it again because it was too much of a heart stressor, you know? Every day, it feels like I go back and forth. Every Raw, every SmackDown, I'm like, Cody's gonna win. No, Roman's gonna win. It's better for Cody to win. It's better for Roman to win. We talked about in the previous podcast is like, does heel Rock have a better return than the champion Cody? Does champion Cody even going to be interesting? There's so many, like, everybody on the internet has a opinion on this because it's probably the biggest milestone. I would say, what's those? A canon event. This is the canon event for the WWE. And if you had to ask me right now, then who's going to win? I think Roman retains.
We're on separate boats here. I think that Cody Rhodes does win here, but I don't think it's the end of the bloodline. I'm predicting Cody Rhodes winning and Roman Reigns and The Rock butting heads after Cody Rhodes wins because Roman was not able to prove that he's the head of the table. Rock takes him out, tries to take over the bloodline. I think that this match, not only is it going to be overbooked, and the term overbooked insinuates negativity, but it's not necessarily the case. You can be good overbooked. And I think that this could be one of those matches where it's there's a lot of things happening in the third act of the match. Ton of people get involved, and I think that there is the possibility that there is stuff that happens beyond the bell. And that could be a beatdown of Roman Reigns from The Rock, or maybe the bloodline beats down The Rock, whatever it could be. I still think that once the bell rings, there is still story to be told right there in that same night.
So like the logo doesn't show up, the little copyright logo doesn't show up right away.
They keep going.
Cody. That'd be interesting. I think that's going to be the goal. Like, they need to already launch the next thing out. I don't think they wait for Raw after Mania. I don't think they do that. I don't think Roman gets a standing ovation here in his curtain call. That's just no way. I like your idea that The Rock continues to bully Roman in some way and take over the bloodline. There's always these rumors that new bloodline members will be introduced. And that is the only thing I feel that is a possibility. I feel like the WWE doesn't know who they're going to pick right now. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. In a sense of like maybe like a week before they didn't know. And maybe they're like the last second they're making these plans congeal, and maybe they have two different endings. The reason why I say that is because if you're TKO and if you're the WWE, you look at your ledger and you're like, we are drawing the biggest draw, gates that we've ever had in our entire Monday Night Raw history. We are putting up numbers that we haven't had since the WWF Attitude Era. We are this talk of culture now. We are wrestling is cool again. Rock again, it's wrestling is cool, not pro wrestling is cool. How can you deny the impact that heel Rock has given the WWE, and for a mere $30 million, when if you had a heel faction,
just
I know, right?
A small loan of $1 million is what that reminds me of.
If you were the WWE, you had a heel faction like the Bloodline running roughshod again, when the NWO and WCW had the same kind of success, then you give CM Punk something to do, you give Seth Rollins something to do, You give Cody Rhodes something to do. You give Jey Uso. You give Sammy. You give so many faces something to do for the entire year versus individual feuds and things of that sort that may or may not pan out in comparison to bringing down the bloodline. The only reason why I feel like Roman retains is because I've said this before, this is Infinity War, not Endgame.
Not Endgame.
Not Endgame.
When the hell are we going to get to Endgame then, man? We thought that this was going to be Endgame. I'm still.
There's just too much money to be.
I know.
Made right
See,
now.
that was the thing last year. Last year for me, it was Roman can't lose. There's still too much story to tell. You still got to tell. And I said it first. I said Bloodline Civil War. And then they started telling the story of the Bloodline Civil War. And I was right. You know, Roman won. They had more story to tell. And I was like, okay, WrestleMania 39 is the place. But now we're back to this, but there's still more to tell. And just because, here's the thing, just because there's more story to tell doesn't mean that Roman can't lose the championship. Roman Reigns, at this point, him being the champion isn't the end of the story. I think there's more. Even there's going to be a story that needs to be told of the backlash, no pun intended, but there wouldn't be a backlash. But there needs to be a story that needs to be told about the lasting impacts of Roman losing the championship. Who leads the bloodline? Now we have internal battles within the bloodline. More members get involved. Then that's how we can tell Rock versus Roman Reigns. That can all happen without Roman being champion, which is why, even though I agree with you that there is still so much meat left on this bone that is the bloodline saga, the bloodline saga, now that it has The Rock, is bigger than the title. I don't think Roman needs the title to continue this story for us to do Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 39. I'm thinking that they take the titles off of Roman Reigns. This WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes is going to win.
And so you think WrestleMania 41 is Rock versus Roman for the title of Tribal Chief?
It's whatever they want to do. Tribal combat, bloodline rules. Whatever the whatever the spoils of the victory are, I don't know what they are. But we've seen WrestleManias that can have a hype enough main event that don't involve the title, like Cena Rock WrestleMania 28. I just don't think that Roman needs the title for us to be able to tell that story. I think that you can have the title be full time on Raw and SmackDown with Cody Rhodes while still telling these short, long narrative stories that happen every couple of months between Roman, The Rock, and the rest of the bloodline.
Okay. I don't like, again, for people that are watching right now in the comments or you're listening on the podcast services, I go every day. I change. I go back and forth, dude, because I see both sides and I see both your side. And I see my side when it comes to just what we said here. And of course, everyone on the internet. It's just, this is what wrestling is, though. This is what wrestling should be, where you could emphatically believe an outcome could happen, because when that match is in motion and when things are going and referees are taking bumps and interferences are happening left and right and the face is overcoming anything, and you just sit there and you're like, I legit don't know what's going to happen. Oftentimes in wrestling, this is a rare era that we're in where we do not know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like you said, what was it? Was it Elimination Chamber, for a quick example? Very predictable PLE. There's no, everything fell into place and there was just no way they were going to change from that formula because WrestleMania was right around the corner. I just don't see this as clear as day. I don't think if anyone were to say oh, I know exactly what's going to happen, you're lying. You're lying. You're a liar. There's just no way you can call this, because the biggest factor, the X factor, is heel Rock and the success that heel Rock has had. He is so over. This dude says I beat down Cody, I put blood on Mama Rhodes' belt, la da da da. And the dude are cheering for Rocky. They're yelling for Rocky. It's just insane to me. And then the pop that Rock got, or Rollins got, for just challenging The Rock.
Yeah.
That was loud, and it was a fever. Everyone was, they wanted that. I wanted to see it, and then we got sold. But the point is, I wanted to say, you said it, I think the best is there's too much meat on this bone just to ignore. And I think the WWE knows, the WWE is at its best when it knows it has you in its hooks, and they have everyone in its hooks.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think I think they're gonna give us something special. And my final prediction, as I said, I'm gonna stick with Roman just to be a little bit different here on this podcast. I think Rikishi gets involved at some point too.
I'm so done with
I know
the
he's very.
Rick-
I know he's
yeah,
limited.
Yeah.
I know he's limited, but he could be there, ringside. He could be there, and he could be like sad about the entire thing. Rikishi
I feel
has
he's
to be
more
there.
likely to get involved in the Uso match. He's their dad.
Yeah. Regardless, I feel like the only missing piece into this whole thing, it kind of reminds you of Star Wars, right? You have these entire family legacies, the Skywalkers and yada yada do, but where's the past? Where's the
Sure.
the legends in there? Where's them to pop up and to be around, just to get that, just to add that presence to it, that stakes, to raise them just a little bit more. And that's why I think Rikishi should be involved in some point away.
All right.
Oh, quick question.
Oh,
Does Dustin Rhodes get involved?
no.
The natural? No, you don't think
No,
so?
no. I still think he's under AEW contract. I don't think he gets
I
involved.
don't know, dude. AEW seems like they need some money. It'd be nice to have a little bit of a, all of a sudden, TKO's like, all right, how much to get Dustin for one night? $5 million? Sure.
I don't think so.
Why not?
I mean,
I think it
I don't
would
see
add
it.
so much. Dude, wouldn't that blow your mind though?
It
if
would
Dustin
blow
did
my
show up?
mind. That'd be awesome. I don't see it happening though.
It'd be awesome to show up. And final thing is, do we get new Bloodline members showing
No,
up?
I not at WrestleMania. I don't think so.
No.
No.
You think The Rock comes out the Raw after Mania like, all right,
I think
Roman, and he comes out with his new Bloodline?
that'd be
like,
sick.
these are my guys.
Raw
That'd be
after
sick.
Mania is a much better place because that's introducing new characters in the season finale is a little bit weird. Meanwhile, doing it for Raw after Mania or a smaller PLE, I think is the better play to do it. I just think that there's already too much happening. Too many hands in the kitchen, as they say, already in the main event scene to then all of a sudden try to explain to somebody who the hell Tamatonga is, right? That is a casual WWE viewer who has no idea who this dude is.
True. And last question I know before we go, and we already asked you this, but does MJF Raw after Mania?
No.
Is there a possibility?
No.
Is there a percentage? 5%.
I give it up 0.1.
Wow, 0.1. So there is a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance? Yeah, I don't think it happens. I think he's still under contract.
Come on.
No, obviously, I'd love that. I would love that, but I don't see it happening.
Cody has been like, Cody has demons too in his past. Seth Rollins has been haunted by Cody Rhodes. Why not Cody Rhodes get a demon from the past to show up?
Folks, thank you so much for listening to this extra bonus episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. The regular episode will still be available for your viewing and listening pleasure. This is just an extra one. Bonus. More Sancho, more Santi. Sancho, WrestleMania, what are you going to be doing for it?
I'm going to be doing a watch party on my Twitch page, twitch.tv/Sancho West. If you miss my reactions, I don't know. I have to ask Santi am I allowed to upload Mania right away? We're going to be doing it at Sancho West Wrestling on the TikTok. And I don't know, Santi, can I upload right away?
I mean, I've never had any problems with anything WWE related.
Ooh, please don't ban me.
That's why that's why I have 17 accounts. That's the play.
Fair enough,
Folks,
fair
thank you so much for watching and listening. Take care and be wonderful people.